Welcome to lesson 2 of 2 in this tutorial, covering mains electricity. This is the final video in our series of 2 lessons covering the topic of domestic uses and safety. Here are the key learning objectives for this lesson. The first is connecting to the mains, and the second is to look at the dangers of electricity. Here are the AQA specification points for this tutorial. Feel free to pause the video now and have a quick read through them before we begin. First, we will look at how most electrical appliances connect to the mains. In order to use our electrical devices, we must connect them to the mains using cables. The cables provide a pathway for the electricity to run through. Inside each cable, there are 3 wires, which is why we call them 3-core cables. These will all run into the head of a 3-pin plug, which goes into a wall socket. Now, let's look at our next 2 specification points. We'll be covering the different wires inside a plug. Here, we can see that there are 3 wires running into the head of the plug. Each of these is a different colour, as we'll see shortly. Let's look at the green and yellow wire first. This is called the earth wire. This wire doesn't normally carry a current since it is a safety wire to stop the appliance becoming live. It only carries a current if there is a fault in the circuit. It has a potential difference of 0 volts. The next wire we will look at is called the brown wire. This is called the live wire. Electricity will flow in through this wire. It carries an alternating PD of 230 volts from the mains. It will start off the flow of current through the circuit. Finally, let's look at the blue wire. This is the neutral wire. Electricity will flow out through this wire, and this completes the circuit. Like the earth wire, this also has a PD of 0 volts. Here's a summary of what we've just learnt. For AQA exams, we need to know the colours, potential difference, and the uses of each of these 3 cable wires. So let's fill in this table together. First, let's look at the earth wire. This wire was green and yellow. Its use was that it didn't carry a current, and it was a safety wire. Its potential difference was 0 volts. Now let's look at the live wire. This wire was brown. Electricity flowed in through this wire. And it started the flow of current. It had a PD of 230 volts. Finally, let's look at the neutral wire. This wire was blue. The use of this wire is that electricity flowed out through it. This wire completes the circuit. And it has a PD of 0 volts, similar to the earth wire. Here's a reminder of the 3 different coloured wires running into the head of the plug. These were the earth wire, the live wire, and the neutral wire. You might have to label these in the exam, so make sure you know the colours and uses of each of them. Our next specification point will cover the potential differences in a plug. The live wire is very dangerous. It has an alternating PD of 230 volts from the main supply. The value of 230 volts is very far from the value of 0 volts, which is the normal voltage of the human body. Since the live wire has a very large potential difference compared to the human body, the live wire can cause shocks. When you touch the wire, the current will flow through into your body. This current will cause the shock. Now let's look at why a live wire may be dangerous. Even if the switch is open in a circuit, meaning that the circuit wouldn't be complete, it still might not be safe. There might not be a current in the live wire, but there will still be a potential difference inside the circuit. When touched, the current will flow from the live wire through the body and into the earth. Finally, we will look at the dangers of the live wire and earth. If there is a connection between the live wire and earth, a current will flow. If a person touches a live wire, they will be the connection between the wire and the earth. Here are some of the dangers of electricity. We'll cover them in this section. Water can conduct electricity. It forms a connection for the electricity to flow to your body, causing electric shocks. This means you should definitely use dry hands when you are around electricity and handling sockets. Sometimes, electric circuits can become overheated and the amount of electricity flowing through it is very large. This can lead to the circuit becoming very hot and could potentially cause a fire. Fuses are an important safety feature as they can shut down a circuit if the current gets too high. Sockets will have a plastic insulating coating, which prevents you from getting into direct contact with the main supply. Wires will also have this, but sometimes they can become cut and frayed, which will expose the dangerous live wire. We've now covered all the specification points for this tutorial. Feel free to skip back through the video and re-watch any of the sections you feel unsure about. We've now completed Lesson 2.